Welcome back to another episode of the Rankable podcast. I'm your host, Garrett Sussman of iPullRank, and I am stoked. I mean, if you listen to the show, that I love geeking out about AI, and I have a really unique special guest joining me today. I'm joined by Jason Tatum. Now, Jason is the VP of product at CallRail. He's done nonprofit. He's been in publicly traded and private startup technology sectors. Jason, what I love about Jason is he's an advocate for bicycle commuting. He's all about that real life paper books, like make sure he actually takes some time to read, spends time with his wife, Sarah, and his kids, Hazel and Henry. Thanks for joining me today, Jason. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. That was a great hyped introduction. I am not the basketball player. So if you tuned in because you hate or love the Boston Celtics, I am not your guy.
Dude, I was really concerned because I'm actually a Philadelphia 76ers fan, and I was nervous I was going to have this really awkward podcast episode. A few weeks ago, the teams were playing, and we still don't know how this played out because we're recording at the time. But I bet you get that a lot.
I get it. I get it a lot, and it's very like Office Space if you get that reference of like the Michael Bolton, like why should I change my name? I get it's a weird thing to go like 30 years and have a unique name, and then all of a sudden overnight it's like my SEO plummeted. Channing Tatum did me in pretty bad, but then Jason Tatum came along, and then I'm on like page 3 now. It's sad.
Dude, I actually feel you on that. Having like Garrett Sussman is a super unique name. And apparently there's a CPA out there, Garrett Sussman, who's very successful. I think we're both from New Jersey around the same age. And like he pops up on my search results. And I'm like, no, I got to do another podcast so I can push that down. If he ever gets famous, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, seriously.
So I'm excited because obviously we're talking AI, and there have been so many innovative use cases. And so CallRail's been around for a hot minute. But just like, so many like tools are integrating AI in really new, unique ways. And one of the things that really caught my attention about CallRail is all about you do call tracking. You have these conversations that you record and surface insights, but now you're able to kind of power that by AI, kind of like this AI-powered conversation intelligence. Can you explain how that works? And obviously, since this is an SEO podcast, how that ties in to search engine optimization?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the first thing that's fun for me, we're talking about the zeitgeist of AI. And how it fits with CallRail is that CallRail's been doing this for years. We are not new to the game. We've had product in market for a long time. And I will say that, as far as kind of how it works overall, it starts with a great transcript. And I can tell you that I've been at CallRail for nearly 7 years, and there was a time where we did not have a great transcript. It was, we would kind of face palm at how bad they were, and then a few years ago we were able to make some changes, and we saw the power of having really great transcripts. And that is like the first key ingredient, is that your insights that you're going to glean from anything is only as good as the quality of the written word. Basically, how close is it to the original text or the human speech? And so that's kind of the first part, right? And then once you have a really great transcript that is able to be created not through human intervention, but through smart modeling and fast infrastructure, then you can do all kinds of fun things. And where it plays into SEO is it's really speed to insight, right? It's the thing about what we're doing that's really unique to where everything else is right now. Right now, what the world's doing is they're basically chatting with a statistically optimized search engine, right? It's like ChatGPT. It's like you're talking to the entire body of text on the internet and it is statistically fantastic at giving you a really good answer, which has huge implications for search down the line, as we all know. But where CallRail is even in CallRail, and I think we'll soon see a lot of others do the same thing, is where we're on the bleeding edge is we're doing that modeling off of like the voice off of voice powered conversations, where you have more than text, you have tone, right? You have sentiment. You can gauge intent. You can do all kinds of things that are harder to get, like in a chat bot. And so what you get when you're pulling data from you're gleaning insights from conversations that happen over a phone is that you're able to surface real world, natural sentiments, keywords, phrases, desires, right? All of those things can be punched up to the surface of the waters a lot faster. And then if you couple that with like really great automations, then you can like aggregate and classify large bodies of information into actual like digestible, reportable, surfaceable results. And then you can go and apply that to your strategies.
Dude, if my organization had that technology and if we had like a nice volume of those conversations, like as an SEO, I would be like beating down the doors of like the analytics and the sales team being like, let me look at that stuff, because especially with everything that Google has been doing over the last few years in terms of the EEAT, the experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, the idea of hearing firsthand experience from your customers and being able to kind of analyze the patterns of that experience just through those voice calls, I feel like is like a content amplifier for SEOs. How do you identify those patterns and trends? Like, what does that actually look like for a business?
Well, when it comes to it depends. There's different flavors, right? Like there's some people that know what they're looking for, and so what they'll do is um, they'll set up like the keywords that they know that they're looking for, the things that are important. Same thing like you're setting up goals in Google Analytics, right? Like give me let me know when this action happens, this action, that we can do the same thing from a phone call, and then we can classify, we can tag, we can score, we can do all kinds of things through that method, right? The thing that's great about being able to create summaries that surface like, here's what this was about. The essence is that again, this is like the power of statistics, is being able to surface like, here's what's really important about this 45-minute phone call in 3 to 5 sentences, right? And that's where the technology is telling you what maybe you don't know, right? And you would not have been able to find as fast if you were trying to listen to all of these phone calls. If you were trying to read every transcript end to end, it'd take much, much more time to be able to synthesize into that kind of learning.
Do you like, I do know like a lot of like sales teams leverage this tech. Are there conversations with the marketing team? Like, are they getting in on the game from your perspective, from what you heard? Because as a product guy, you're talking to your audience and who's using it. Like, what does that
Yeah.
segment think about it?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So like agencies love this because agencies are like, they're trying to prove their value, right? And they want to make sure that the leads that they're providing are converting and being able to show the like, hey, we're giving you good quality leads. Here's what's happening on the call on the other side. Here's what you need to do to be better at this, right? That's like a big part of it, is being able to surface like those trends and be able to share that back. And then the other part of it is again, because of the concise nature of it, being able to surface the essence of something that in such a concise way, is that you're able to much more efficiently pick out keywords that you can then go, and this is true. This is like, I'm getting this feedback from our customers, is that they're going and they're using those summaries to go and optimize content and keyword bidding strategies.
That makes a lot of sense to me as well, because when you have that information and the way your customers talk about a product or a service, you can then use that to build out your content in the voice of your customer, if you will.
Right.
Another component of it, I imagine, is you guys are able to track sentiment analysis as well. And in SEO, obviously,
Right.
brand management and reputation is huge. How are your marketer customers kind of applying the brand sentiment insights into their SEO?
Yeah. So that's a good question. The thing that I paused because the thing that my head goes to is like, how do you optimize conversion, right? Like that's the first stage. How do we like actually make sure that we close more deals? How do we surface what agents are having the best conversations, and making sure that the other agents are able that it shortens the speed, shortens the timeline to be able to replicate what's going well when you're surfacing sentiment, and really good sentiment. And then the next thing that you do is like, if you have, there's a guy on our team, right? Who he closes like 10% above everybody else. Like it's incredible. He can't even tell you what he does that makes him so good, right? And our CEO is obsessed with it. It's like, how do we unlock what he can do? It's literally studies it, right? And so you have that studying, trying to like replicate that across sales teams. And then what you do is you say, okay, what's the language that's being used in how this person talks when they're talking about our product, that we can then go and replicate through our content, right? Through our whole brand and messaging, right? Like it has cascading effects all the way down into just how you talk about it, even at the micro digital marketing level.
That's interesting. It's like being able to analyze your high performers and how that can
Mm-hmm.
influence marketing as well. What's the future like? What direction do you see like the AI capabilities? I mean, obviously there's been an explosion of innovation over the last few months, and like you said, you've been doing it for 7 years, but it feels like there's more possibilities going
Yeah.
forward. I mean, are you guys having fun conversations internally? Like, how are you looking at
Oh
it?
my gosh. Oh my gosh. What a time to be alive. I mean, it's every day is like, you're just, the mind boggles of what we can do. And honestly, like the speed to like even testing some stuff is like the game like, I'm not gonna get deeply technical and like like how all this stuff works, but it's like even some things that like seemed really hard to do from a pure like analytics and reporting side, like it's different now, like just in the way that Google, is changing how their search works from like completely, right? Like it's a different, it's not a different UX and UI. It is a new like chassis, right? And that unlocks all kinds of like core capabilities that just weren't there before, which is really exciting. Now, practically speaking, there's like three big things that are coming. Um, One is like the obvious thing that you're seeing in the last several weeks, which is practical application, right? So at the FANG level, right, you have this like arms race of having the best LLM thing out there, right? But that's going to quickly become commoditized, right? Like very, very quickly. It's almost kind of happening now in some ways. Like we're not there yet, but it's coming. The real value unlock is going to be where people can take that tooling and practically apply it to real problems, right, and solve real problems for real people. The second thing is going to be time. Now, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, everybody says we're always going to get time back, right? We got the microwave, and does that mean I play more croquet in my front yard? No, like you fill the time somewhere else. But hopefully as somebody with two young children, and as you know, I spend time actually fantasizing about when I might sit in a hammock in the middle of the day. I really do. That's not being facetious. I think about time constantly, and I know that like if I can decrease, you know, the time it takes to run critical business functions in my day to day, I'm going to fill it with other productive stuff. But hopefully, likely, um, I'm going to be finding new and more interesting problems to solve, and make the business better. And the other part of that time aspect is the time to insight, right? Like how long does it take for me to learn something that I really need to know, and then turn around and apply it so that I ultimately collect more revenue, um, have a happier life. And then the third and final thing is trust. There's going to be a proliferation of hyper personalized and contextual messaging. It's going to change, like everything in the SEO world is just going to get better. Everything in the marketing automation, drip campaign, and retargeting spaces are going to get unbelievably better, and the throughput is going to go crazy. And there's probably going to be a lot of spam, even more now for a while than we have today, which is sad, right? But ultimately, trusted sources are going to be really, really important. And so the other side of that, of us building these things out at CallRail, is okay, how can we make sure that our customers are trusted in the eyes of their leads, right? And so when they get a hyper personalized contextual message, what's going to make them likely to answer it, to open it, to answer it, to call back, whatever it is? Like those are going to be some of the outcomes and the problems to solve from this new technology.
Oh man, you got my mind racing a mile a minute, because when you start mentioning LLMs and having all this call data, it makes me think, outside of SEO, just tuning these personalized LLMs we'll see more and more of on your call data will
Right.
produce like incredible content, incredible chatbots on your websites, that
Yeah.
are able to answer your, in a very personalized way, provide a better experience for your customers. So how easy or hard is it to implement like this type of technology and get it into your SEO processes? Like how does a business kind of start tracking, and next thing you know, they have quicker to insight, and then just make sure that the SEOs have access? Like how are you thinking about that?
That's a good question. I think if you're using a tool like CallRail, then we've sort of like optimized the whole system to be like, how do we get insights to marketers, right? Quickly, the way, how fast does the homepage load when you hit the app? Like those are the things that product people think about. And so really it's about weaving in these new insights faster, right?
Mhm.
And making it, how do we make it more accessible into a lot of the things that, and I will brag on our company a little bit, right? The CallRail's built its name on making it easy, right? We took something that was complicated and big and hard, and we made it Main Street in a lot of ways, right? And so we're going to continue to plug in these tools into that same sort of methodology and that format. We want to make it really easy for, what I say, like the butcher and the baker and the candlestick maker, to be able to get the value just as much as the fat cats do, at the big Fortune 500 companies.
I mean, that's what I love
Um,
about this tech. It democratizes the ability to
right.
do all of these big, complicated things. Can you discuss any like case studies or real world examples when using the conversation intelligence aspect has been like successfully used to improve SEO performance for a company?
Yeah. We have a case study that just went out recently from a customer called Workshop Digital, and they're talking very specifically about how they're utilizing our new premium CI conversation intelligence features to optimize their whole digital marketing strategy. So it's them understanding both using like the speed of summaries to optimize the content and the keyword bidding strategies. At the end of the day, right, here's the problem that ultimately gets solved, and it's kind of a Moore's law kind of thing, right, where it's like the thing is getting smaller and smaller exponentially. But I part of the call tracking world, and some of my background is in VoIP and telephony, and everybody wants there's nobody that has a business phone system that doesn't sell the monitor whisper barge is what they call it. Like, I want to be able to monitor a live call. I want to be able to coach in real time. I want to be able to jump in if I need to. Those have like really low utilization rates. Like, people they like the idea of being able to do it. They don't really have the time to do it. Like most business people, especially in small business, they're not sitting around listening to phone calls live all day. They don't have time. There's too many fires going on. And so they like the idea, but they don't get around to it. So then they say, okay, let me get call recording, right? And they're like, I'm going to analyze these calls after the fact, and then I'm going to learn, I'm going to make decisions. And the best, honestly, the best of the best, they do that. They have the discipline, they create the time, and they say, okay, listening to calls, it takes a lot of time. Give me a transcript. I'll read it. I can read it faster. And they start reading, right? And they're like, oh gosh, okay, this is a lot to read. I can't read 1,000 phone calls, right? How do I get the learnings of 1,000 phone calls? Well, now we're talking about summaries, right? We're talking about surfacing like exactly what you need to know. And then now you as a small business person are able to leverage the learnings of a large data set in like a matter of minutes. And that is where, you can actually, with confidence, make decisions about how you set up your marketing strategies and how you go about attracting new customers and actually make those changes. And that's really pretty compelling to watch unfold and watch people really like realize that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely get it. Like, in terms of, like I was saying at the beginning, just the potential to get your hands on that sort of data and insights as a marketer in SEO, and then apply it to your content strategy so that you improve your visibility on search engines and ultimately in LLMs as we start to kind of like focus on how does our brand get there. This has been really cool, Jason. I know you're more product than SEO, so we're going to do a little different version of the rapid fire ranking today. Are you up for that?
I'm ready.
Okay. So we're flipping it around. We're going to put some music on the up there and the clock on, and we are going to do a product focused rapid fire ranking. So first off, just totally random, but what are the top 3 of anything that you love the most in the world?
Okay, so I love being on the elegant and perfect machine that is the bicycle. Number 1. Number 2, I love Great Britain. I lived there for 3 years. I loved being there. I would love to be back. I just have to convince my whole family to uproot. And then 3, I just love life. Like, not to be silly, but I love life a little too much sometimes. Eat, drink, travel, sweat, find new interests, learn new things. Buy the ticket, take the ride, all of it.
Dude, I love that. You got to just have them watch Ted Lasso and everyone will be over in England in no time. Anyway, rank your best product win. Okay,
so the way I answer this is my best SEO win, but as a product person, a lot of people are probably familiar with Google Data Studio. I think it's Looker Data Studio. When it very first came out in beta, Google reached out to us to say, hey, we'd like for you to be part of the beta program. And so we had the CallRail link up on the Google Data Studio page. And it was like, that was the biggest win of the whole thing, was getting the link on the Google page. That's my biggest SEO win as a product person.
Dude, that's a badass connector to have, because it's like being able to tie that in. You can do so much. Anyway, okay. Rank your top 3 SEO or product tools.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I say my top 3 SEO tools, they're not tools, but they're people that I know they're experts at it. If I have questions about SEO, I go to those friends of mine, they're former colleagues. Product tools, the pen and paper, like write things down, take good notes, listen to people. There's a new tool that the Atlassian has called Atlas, and it's a way of like project and status reporting in a way that's like really sane and manageable. It's like really, really good. And then my third favorite, it's just like overall like a great product, is Hey by the makers of Basecamp. It frees you of bad email experience, especially if you have a famous name and you get tons of spam. Hey is the way to go.
Dude, their marketing has always been so impressive to me. I remember when Hey came out, they had such a smart campaign in terms of privacy and Gmail. Anyway,
So
rank
good.
your best SEO or product trick or tactic.
Oh, everything that I just talked about, like if I were a business owner, I would have call summaries set up, and I would make it core to my workflow every single day. Like it just makes you work so much smarter.
I love that. Rank what you love most about being a product guy.
My favorite thing about being a product guy is I can actually make people's days better. Like I can improve. Like if I am at a place, like a great place like CallRail that's invested in making like business people's days better, we can do that, right? Like we listen to real problems and find actual workable solutions and improve the quality of life. People talk about, I'm sorry, I gotta say this. People talk about like B2B, like it's all about like big business, whatever. Like we're talking about like Main Street. We're talking about like plumbers and dentists and you know, the guy that comes and like paints my house and stuff. And it's like, if we can give them tools, we spend most of our lives at work, right? And so like making it better for people, improving that time is like really gratifying to me.
So we can all like just hang in our hammocks in the middle of the day. I'm here for it.
One
Rank
day.
your rank your best SEO or product learning resource.
Oh gosh, I was thinking about this from the SEO side. I do keep up with Neil Patel and Rand Fishkin, and like those are like, I know those are well-known names, but those are people that I've learned from, and probably my top when I'm keeping up with the digital marketing world.
And that fits right into the rank the top 3 SEOs or marketers that you most admire or look up to. In terms of product, is there anyone in the product world that people should pay attention to?
Recently in the product world, so talking about the Hey Basecamp people, DHH and Jason Fried are both like, I don't agree with everything that they say, but they have a point of view, and I love people that have a point of view, and especially when they're talking about technology. On the SEO and the marketer front, I have a coworker, my peer at CallRail. Her name is Laura Boisman. She's our VP of product marketing, and it's like when you, as a product person, and anybody that's in tech, when you have, as a product person, you have a partner in marketing. That's like, we're actually partners, and we come together, solve problems, and we have mutual trust and respect. It just is like unbelievable. And then she's like one of the most smart people you ever meet. And the same goes through the person that trained her and mentored her, which is, her name's Mary Pat Donnellan, and then Andy Powell, who founded CallRail. The reason CallRail is what it is today partly is because of the commitment to making things easy. The other part was Andy Powell really understood SEO and built an inbound powerhouse that's like pretty rare and amazing.
Very cool. Yeah, I know on the local SEO side that it comes up all the time in terms of call tracking. And then finally, rank your number 1 cause or charity that you want to promote.
Yeah, so this is a national thing. It's called Bike Law. Bike Law is a organization that they are lawyers who are focused on representing and helping cyclists who have been in accidents and making sure that they get fairly represented, because cycling, especially cycling in city commuting, is a thing that is good for our bodies. It's good for the environment. It's good for our cities. It's good for traffic congestion. But often there's accidents, and the cyclist gets blamed somehow. And bike law is really good at making sure those people get good representation and the help that they need.
That's a really, really cool charity. And it's funny, it's interesting. I remember living in San Francisco, and there was always that battle between cars, cyclists, and like, you know, pedestrians. And it's always like everyone gets upset. So that's good to have those protections in place. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been a really interesting conversation on things that you and I are geeking out on, which is this tech. If someone wants to find you online, Jason, where's the best way to get in touch?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn at Jason Tatum, Jason J Tatum. I look like this if you go online, and Twitter, Jason J Tatum.
Awesome. We will have the link in the description notes. Thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate your time, man.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. My name is Garrett Sussman of the iPullRank Rankable podcast. We will catch you next week. Thanks again. Catch you later.